the report, let's bring up some of your views on video.
Stories of the 2010 Constitution is the devolved governance. I mean, for the very first time, we are seeing development brought closer to people. People can access amenities that they couldn't access before because development and such amenities have been brought closer to them. We have people accessing, healthcare systems, something that was not there in the past. People had to walk miles away to access this, but we are seeing more of these health facilities now being developed in our counties. We are also seeing the infrastructure that is, happening around the country thanks to devolution. The biggest challenge which remains, I think, is corruption. And when corruption is fought in the devolved governance, then we are able to have more funds that can help the people to even develop further than what they have done right now.
One of the greatest challenges of devolution ever since it came is the poor management of funds. How can this anomaly be corrected? Or how shall this anomaly be corrected, taking into consideration that there is even now a call to increase the funds? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trevor. My name is Bruce Mackenzie, a student of Moi University. Devolution is all about making decisions closer to the local people, the community, and also the business they affect. Right now the political temperature has risen, and it seems that the Big Four agenda has now been forgotten. As a CES, what are some of the projects you are planning, maybe to help the youths in one way or the other, in that they are not affected by the political temperatures right now?
At least we are better off with devolution or devolved governance system as a country. We can see the fruits.
When such conferences are being held, we hear some people saying sweet, sweet words, very nice words, but we don't see the real actions of those words. Like now, most of Kenyans, they don't understand what does devolution mean or what does devolution has brought to the societies. We want to know whether this devolution, it is only for some people that who have, and those who don't have are not involved.
All right, we seem to have a general consensus that devolution works, except for the teething problems. CS, and what specific recommendations will you then be making when you go to Makueni?
I think first of all is to assure Kenyans that indeed devolution is working. As the first presenter, commentator said, in terms of improvement in healthcare, health service deliveries, we have seen this. A place like Mandera, I was there recently, and Governor Robert took me to a brand new hospital where they have dialysis machines. This is something that had not been seen in northern Kenya since independence. We had people traveling over 1,000 kilometers, Trevor, to come to Kenyatta National Hospital for dialysis. For you to access a dialysis machine, you must be closer to it, because weekly or every 2 or 3 weeks, you must come back. Now imagine traveling 1,000 kilometers from Mandera to Kenyatta National Hospital and traveling back, then coming back the following week. It's too expensive. Entire families had moved to Isili to be closer, live with their relatives here, to be accessing facilities at Kenyatta National Hospital. Every session, I think you'll pay several thousands of shillings, 5,000 to 7,000 shillings. But now with devolution, we have families that have moved back home to Mandera. They are able to come to this hospital, receive dialysis, and they'll just pay 500 shillings. And this is, much less than what they were paying at Kenyatta National Hospital, minus the traveling expenses, the burden on the relatives living here. And it's not only Mandera. Even Siaya, when the president visited recently, he was told a story of relatives who had moved to Kisumu, because it's only Kisumu city that you could access dialysis machines at the Nyanza General Hospital. This has happened everywhere. We had people traveling from Lodwar, Turkana, past Kapenguria. They could not get a CT scan. Kitale District Hospital, no CT scan. They come all the way to Moi Referral Hospital in Eldoret, over 400 kilometers. Now, this has changed. With devolution, we have better equipped hospitals, we have better services, and we have changed lives. This, I want to agree with them that indeed we are seeing the fruits of devolution, but also what they're asking is what can we do, like the second questioner, to ensure that we have better management of these resources. We have, of course, strengthened the legal framework to ensure that the law is very clear, that this much should go to development, not more than this should be spent on recurrent. That's another area where we have some counties spending over 70% going to recurrent, and very little is going towards development. This also affects our intention to really devolve these resources. In some counties, and I'm sorry I keep referring to Professor Kibwana, not because he was my professor of constitutional law and my friend, but he has performed. And we once went there and saw a hospital of about 150, 200 million, complete, equipped, serving over 50,000 mothers, children. But in some counties, you would find a governor who had spent the similar amount of money on a governor's mansion. Maybe that mansion would help the governor, his wife, and maybe 3 or 4 children. When in Makueni, a similar amount of money, prudently used, is helping over 50,000 people. So I agree with the questioner that much more needs to be done, and we are going to see how to strengthen this. And we have institutions, we have the CRA people, we have the commissioner, the budget people, the Auditor General. We want to see how we can ensure counties dedicate more to development, and they don't put everything on recurrent. Yes.
And Governor, 2 issues are coming out from what CS is saying. One, priorities, because it's during this COVID-19 season also that the soft underbelly of counties were exposed. We realized there were counties that didn't even have ICU beds, counties that didn't have proper health facilities. In fact, it took the national government to specifically say all counties must have more than 300 beds for them to act. So should there be irreducible minimums being given to counties that these are the things you need to first do 1, 2, 3, 4? And on the recurrent expenditure, is there duplication of roles in the counties? There's a CS, there's a Minister for Agriculture on this side, national government, then you also have your own in the county level. Is there duplication of roles there?
Well, in terms of the Constitution is clear in terms of the Schedule 4, what are the functions of the national level and the functions of the county. And for example, agriculture and health are some of the 2 very important functions that are devolved to the counties. But the national level, of course, has the role of standards, setting standards, research, policy formulation, and matters like that. And one of the problems that we have had relates to when you have 47 entities, which were the compromise during Naivasha in terms of the final stages of constitution making. Instead of concentrating on like the fewer regions where there could have been probably a better use of resources, and then you don't duplicate bureaucracies 47 times. So that in the 47 counties, I'm not saying that they should disappear, but there would be more of managerial entities. But that step was missed. Then we inherited workers. When we inherited workers, you can't sack them. And you must keep on paying them, and they're permanent and pensionable. So until at the national level that issue is resolved, it means counties at the national level will still have to mobilize funds to pay these Kenyans who are occupying those positions. But that human resource issue is an issue to look at without necessarily jeopardizing the lives of people who have been employed, because there are systems of how that is done. I think from what the viewers have said, you see, like people tell me, Kibwana, if you do anything wrong, we are going to walk to your mother, she's still alive, and tell her that your son is misbehaving. How did you bring him up? So people are able to see what's happening in the counties. They can't easily come to Nairobi and see what is also happening at the national level. So they concentrate on us, and that is why they are our major source of accountability, because they'll just tell you straight. this is wrong, this is not right, and we appreciate. We appreciate that, but we have to strengthen the management, and because 10 years are mostly years of a foundation. And we agree. The other point that I want to address is the young people. Both the national level and devolution. We have started with things like Ajira kwa vijana. We are of course doing things like in Musheru's ministry, you know, of technology and all that. But I think actually after devolution, one of the most important things that must be done in this country is to really sit down with young people and then say, how are we going to resolve the issue of the livelihoods of these young people between 15, when some of them finish standard 8, maybe some, although there's now good transition, from 15, some just drop out to 35. How do you provide for those people? And how do you make sure that whatever you do, they are part and parcel of organizing it, so that it's not top-down? It's not top-down. I have to be careful because this bottom-up, top-down, it has like its own connotations. The slippery liver of Machuki. So, and I think that's why there are many things that happen in some of the counties. And Waziri was very right in terms of saying, like, there are cancer centers. In Makueni, we had 3 theaters. We have 14. You know, we have the dialysis. There are these new things that are happening. If actually we were to now, in this conference, say, what are the positives from devolution? What are the challenges from devolution? All these resolutions that we have made since we started, which ones have we implemented? Which ones? And we look at this thing without people being defensive. So that if I'm told, you know, Governor Kibwana, this is not right, I say, okay, how do I improve it? And also at the national level, because it's our country and we must take it beyond 2022.
Is part of that the issue with the county assemblies? Have they been effective when it comes to oversight, in your assessment?
For me, if I can talk about, and I can talk about Makueni and other counties, for me, I don't think that one should put them in the first season. We got people who are in the local authorities and they did not understand that this was a new system. And so they created a bit of problems. But in the second term, some of these people can even be MPs. They have really matured and they give you good reports. They are able to look at what you're doing, and even the reports that they give and the reports that also Senate gives us. You can see that they are improving. Of course, there's the issue of benchmarking and people wanting to go all over the place to benchmark. But when I look at the quality of their work, I can see that this is good quality. Only now, people are beginning to become restive because they are looking at which political party will give me a ticket to go back. And you know, that makes you lose focus. But I don't think that I can fault county assemblies. I think given that this is just 10 years, I think they're doing very well, and they're modeled on Parliament, especially the National Assembly. And I would not myself say that they're undermining devolution. Sometimes there are problems when they should pass the budget and they don't want. There is a bit of politics, and we should overcome that so that we professionalize. And because of also this requirement of degrees and all that, that will help a bit, you know, although there are people who don't have degrees who also are very good leaders.
CS, what do you think of the county assemblies?
I think they're doing well. I can tell you on a challenge such as the climate change one, as we go to Makueni, that will be the theme of this conference. We'll be looking at what the assemblies have done in terms of passing the climate change bills. Kenya is one of the first countries in Africa, actually, to pass the climate change bill, which we did in 2016. And we have an act that actually many other countries are benchmarking with us. We are also amongst the first countries to put in place a climate change action plan. And we are far ahead of many countries on this continent, particularly in the Horn of Africa region. Who were recently awarded the trophy of being the resilience champion by the IGAD member states. So we are doing well. We'd like to see this replicated at the subnational level. And that's why we've been working closely with the counties, the county assemblies, to ensure that they replicate this. And so far, we're very happy. And again, to Mwalimu wangu, I must say heko, because he was the first, actually, amongst the 47 county assemblies to pass the climate change bill, to also set up the climate change fund. And as we're going to Makueni, I think we're going to the right venue for benchmarking. So far, by the beginning of the year, we had only 16 county assemblies that have passed this bill. But as we speak now, we have about 41. So as we are going to talk about climate change, we're also looking at climate action. How can both levels of government work together to address this serious challenge? We'll also be looking at the issues of climate financing. Our development partners are coming, and we'll be looking at how we can do this together. So I must say, the assemblies are doing well. Immediately we finish Makueni, the 7th Devolution Conference, we are going to Nakuru for the legislative summit. They will bring together the Senate, our county assemblies, national government, all the counties, to now reflect on this journey together and looking at what the assemblies have done and what they can do towards strengthening devolution. I was very happy that when the BBI bill was going to the assemblies, we had 44 out of 47 passing this bill, supporting the issue of the ward fund, so that we devolve funds further down to the lowest level, so that each ward gets their own funds. We also have more resources coming to the counties. So they have played their role, and I want to say I'm happy about that. But just to comment on the issue of the youth, I think Professor was very clear, and he's also been a very passionate supporter of the youth. I think, I don't know if he's still running for presidency, but he will be like our bunny here in Kenya, because he's championed the youth cause, just like our president. I've always reminded Kenyans that the first time I went to Uhuru Kenyatta's office, I was MP for Saboti, and I had a bill that was proposing setting aside of 25% of public procurement for the youth, just like he's done in South Africa. And then at the time, he was Minister for Finance and Deputy Prime Minister. And we tried at the time, the government said, no, we can start with 10%. But President Uhuru Kenyatta told me then, if we form government, Eugene, I'll ensure 30% is set aside for the youth. And true to his word, immediately was sworn in 2013. We were able, through Senator Sakaja, to pass the AGPO bill. And right now we have 30% set aside for the youth, women and persons with disabilities. The challenge is how to implement that. If we have the governors supporting the president in ensuring that 30% of all the procurement down there in the counties goes to the youth, we will not have to give them tokens or give them sweet slogans towards this election. All we need to do, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Devolution is the real deal. It is working. It's one policy that has transformed this country. I once went to Oxford University, and there was a good professor who said that, you know, science without policy or research, it's still science. But policy without science, without research, is gambling. So we'll have a lot of things coming during this election. But if we can all fight for devolution, strengthen devolution, we will win. The youth are going to be the biggest winners. We'll only need to increase the uptake, because we are talking of over 200 billion in terms of the 30%. And that does not only apply to the counties, even at the national. The president has been very hard on us to ensure that ministers are also able to account for the threshold of 30% AGPO, and ensure that when they're paying pending bills, the AGPO bills are given priority. So we can change this country, and we need to put the youth and the women at the center of the devolution agenda. Yes.
Governor, we are running out of time here, but the 7th Devolution Conference is happening at a time when public gatherings are themselves prohibited. How are you going to navigate this?
This is something that, of course, the decision to have the Devolution Conference now, because it was postponed earlier when COVID started, and COVID was quite a big issue. But all government departments, from the Minister of Health, from Devolution, from COG, from all of us, have looked at what is the situation, so that the decision is not like the decision of the Makueni governor. It is a decision that has been looked at carefully, and that is why the numbers, have really been drastically reduced, so that most of the people who will participate will participate virtually, and you will not access the Devolution Conference if you have not been not humanized, but if you have not been vaccinated twice, maybe also humanized, vaccinated,
immunized,
twice, and even in Makueni, like now, by yesterday we had run out of the vaccines because there was a fantastic uptake, because we were now beginning to take the vaccine to the people, not to tell them just to come to hospitals. But today we got another 5,000 doses. And so we had identified even the service providers in the hotels, in the saloons, in the restaurants. We had identified those ones, and those ones we are going to them, like to supermarkets, to vaccinate them. And so given the kind of numbers that we have, and given that in that the vicinity of the conferences, you can't just get in. And you have, just like when you're getting into an aeroplane, you have to show your certificate. So we are very, very strict on that. And therefore, when the critical officers said that this can happen, then there was a level of comfort. But I would imagine we must continue, being very, very, very careful, so that this is managed in a proper way. Just like there have been countries where there have been elections, there was a torture, the Olympics and so on, because this COVID reality is a reality we have to live with. If people think that we shall stop doing many of the things, that might not quite work. But my comfort is when all the critical departments in the country and all the critical officers have said that this will be done and it must be done this way, so that we try to secure our people, then I say yes. Like in the first instance, when we were told that we can't have it, although we had spent some money, we were not able to, argue with that. But Waziri Wamalwa has also helped a lot in this, and I have to make this point to say that during his watch of devolution, he has really helped us as governors. He has been a friend of devolution. He has been a friend of the counties. And we are happy the president gave him the job.
CS, finally, what do you wish and hope comes out of this conference when it is held between 23rd to the 26th?
First of all, the realization that climate change is the biggest challenge of our generation, and that it is indeed a crisis, and we must have both levels of government and our partners working together towards enhancing and strengthening climate action. We thank those counties that have already passed the climate change bills. And at this during this conference, we'll be urging those who have not to realize the seriousness of this situation. Because even if you don't have drought in your counties, say like in the western Nyanza and coast region, you will have floods. We've had drought in the north, we've had floods, we have had landslides in a place like West Pokot. We lost a lot of people in a place like TOWNHALL, Nyarukulian, and we were able to come in to support. But we also had a locust invasion, and various counties were affected. While we are still dealing with that, here comes COVID-19. So we must work together. We must set aside funding to ensure that the counties are our first line of defense, so that once they are overwhelmed, we now come in as national government, then the international community comes in. For the legislators, we'll be urging them to prioritize legislation, particularly the Disaster Risk Management Bill, to enable us handle disasters. Trevor, Kenya is a very resilient nation, but never has our resilience been tested to this extent in the last 2 years alone.
Yeah.
So that is why we must work together, set aside enough funds, and see how to deal with this. The other issue that we'll be looking at is the ticking time bomb of the youth.
Yeah.
And we must see how to put them at the center of the devolution agenda. We were in Muranga recently, and we had, the Wasani who came together. And just by changing 1 or 2 laws, we're putting money in the pockets of these young people. We have seen counties that have set aside funds for their youth. They have programs for the youth.
Yeah.
We will be reflecting on what other counties have done. There are those who have even started studios for their artists to record. And Trevor, you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Kenya is teeming with talent. We had Ali B from the coast. We had Susanna Owio from Nyanza. We had people from Makueni. And all they need to do is to be supported by these counties.
Yeah.
And this is a platform that we can look at that, and also look at the AGPO.
Yeah.
So the tenders just don't go to friends of governors. Let us give these young people, put real money in their pockets, no tokens.
Yeah.
And this can be done because it is allowed, and it is the object of devolution.
Yeah.
So this is one area we'll be looking at, and I think we are really looking forward to engaging.
All right.
And the last issue is climate financing.
Yeah.
We'll also be looking at what we're doing with the international community. The donor working group will be there. They'll be telling us what they want to do, and we see how we can partner and help counties access some of this funding that is coming through our national treasury from the international community.
All right. Governor, closing remarks?
Yes, I think I forgot something that he had said, whether I'm still in the presidential race. And of course I am. I was unwell for, actually even up to now, I was supposed to be on sick leave, but I have to be there for the Devolution Conference. And so, immediately after the Devolution Conference, I'm now up again because I believe that there are things that must be done for devolution. We have experience from Makueni, we can bring it to the national level. So, and the president, was for young people. So I want to get the baton from him because I'm very passionate about them. But one thing that I want to say about climate change is it's not a question. For example, this conference is different. It's a dialogue conference. And we are also inviting grassroots people who are practitioners of climate action. For example, in Makueni, we have committees, climate change committees, which are ward-based, so that they look at the problems, they look at the solutions, and therefore we want them also to come into the meeting, and what they discuss will be part and parcel of the final communique, because we want now to say, after we discuss climate change there, how is it implemented, so that we go now a stage further from simply saying that these are the laws, this is how we get the money, but how do we do it at the grassroots level where the problems of the drought and the floods and the mudslides and all those problems are. So I'm very, very excited, and also the meeting will talk about the youth and climate change, women and climate change, urban cities. So it is really a very focused, it's a very, very focused meeting, and because the national level, 85% of the money stays there. If again in AGPO, that money is also used for the youth, for the women, for the persons with disability, other marginalized, I think we have good laws and policies, and it is how we incrementally implement them that we will begin to have the revolution, the devolution revolution, the devolution promise that will take us forward, and it will be also part of the president's legacy.
Governor, and Trevor, just to assure the good professor, I didn't know whether he was still running. But I would say that apart from Uhuru Kenyatta, he has really been the champion of the youth. And I supported Uhuru Kenyatta because of that youth agenda. When he started the journey and we launched TNA, we put the youth at the center of everything. And we championed the generational change at the time. And he has stayed consistent up to the level that he has gotten that recognition internationally as the global UN youth champion.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't made up my mind on who I would support after Uhuru Kenyatta. So, Prof, if you talk to me nicely, and if you keep the youth agenda at the heart of everything, you could very easily get my support.
I'll come knocking.
Prof, will you be joining any of the alliances, by the way, now that we're speaking about your candidature? There are many alliances that are coming up. Are you forming your own, or are you joining one of the existing ones? And who's your running mate?
We will first of all put on the Kenyan table what we are about, and we shall develop the manifesto, the agenda. We will crowdsource so that we also develop it with the people, and very soon after the Devolution Conference, we shall embark on that. And of course, we want people who are like-minded to work together with me and with so that it's a big group. And of course, when you have a big group, then Kenyans will tell us, what we should do and how they want to support us. So for now, that's really the focus.
Okay. And this issue of AGPO CS, how best can it be implemented? Because that's a big deal. 30% of all procurement should go to the youth, but the implementation is where the problem has always been. And many of the young people I speak to today tell me we registered those companies, we have those certificates, nothing came through.
I think, like I said, it's really the will that is lacking. If we had the commitment that the president has replicated to the governors, and they also became champions of the youth agenda like Professor Kibwana, we can do it. Like I said, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't even need a new policy. We already have a policy that is working. It is just a matter of implementation and ensuring that we put the youth at the center, and our women at the center of this agenda. It's really the will that is lacking.
Yeah.
Yes, but we can put more laws, more policies, but if the goodwill is not there, if the commitment is not there, then it will not work.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for making time for us this evening. Professor Kivuta Kibwana, Governor for Makueni, they're hosting the Devolution Conference between the 23rd to the 26th. It's very restricted. Most people should follow it virtually. Only 1,000 delegates will be allowed there, and they must all be vaccinated twice. So it's not open for everyone else to just show up. You have to follow it online. Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Devolution CS, thank you so much for making time as well.
Thank you, Trevor.
See how this goes on from there.